Hello again and welcome to another Morty and Glory Warhammer 40k video. Today's episode is going to be a spicy meatball because I'm going to ask and answer one simple question. Are regimental Enginseers a trap unit? Now, at the start of 10th edition, such a question would be considered the highest form of tech heresy. I mean, of course, regimental Enginseers are a great unit. One of the things that they do is give your vehicles a 4+ invulnerable save, something that guard players have asked for decades, for edition after edition. Our vehicles have struggled because they don't have an invulnerable save, and so the Enginseer comes in and it is like our prayers have been answered by the Emperor, by the Omnissiah. And that was my first impression as well, and I saw this and I could not believe that GW had gone from the Enginseer's blessings of the Omnissiah, giving vehicles a 5+ invulnerable save as it had been in older editions such as 9th edition, and then they'd upped it to a mighty 4+. I mean, it was going to make our vehicles so much more durable, right? You see, as the edition has gone on, I've been including my Enginseers less and less. I've been to lots of tournaments, I've played lots of practice games, and it's got to the point now where I never bother including them in an army. In fact, whenever I get list reviews on my live stream, this is where people can send the lists in and they can get some live feedback, and I see Enginseers, I often tell people to take them out. So what has happened? What has caused me to lose faith in my humble cogboy? Has he received a points nerf? Nope, not changed at all. Has his ability been changed? It's no longer as good? Nope, still exactly the same. The Enginseer has not changed. What has changed is my experience. And I've realized that in the vast majority of games that I am playing, I'm not getting anything out of my Enginseer. Not actually doing anything or adding anything. And the reason for this is 10th edition. If we had had the 4+ invulnerable save available in 9th, it would have been a godsend. It would have been an auto include. But 10th edition is a different beast. Fundamentally, a lot of weapons have had their AP toned down a little bit. For example, you've got things like a lot of the Primaris bolters and our weapons going from AP 1 down to AP 0. But the big one is the way that cover has changed. Now, our vehicles can very, very easily benefit from cover. All you need to do is have a little bit of sponson or a little bit of track poked behind an L-shaped ruin, and even if the rest of your vehicle is observable and can be seen, it doesn't matter. You still get the benefit of cover because your opponent can't see the entire unit. Combine this with the fact that a lot of vehicles have gone up from a 3+ save to a 2+ armor save. Even armored sentinels and hellhounds are now on a 2+. Often it feels like the guard can out armor save the custodies. Like the custodies might be walking tanks, but we've got actual tanks. And so when you combine the fact that you have an armor save of 2+ with the benefit of cover, it means that if someone is hitting you with a high strength weapon, high AP weapon, more than likely you're still going to get a 4+ save. If you have a 2+ save unit and it's benefiting from cover, if someone hits you with an AP -0 weapon, just no AP, then you have a 2+ save. If someone hits you with AP -1, you still have a 2+ save. A lot of people get this wrong about cover. They think that because you've got a 2+ save by going into cover, you have now got a worse save, because the way it's worded in the rulebook, it's like, oh, now you only have a 3+ save, or if someone hits you with AP, the first AP puts you down to 3 up, and then it's not until like AP 2, and then you stay on 2. That's not how it works. Cover means that you don't get the benefit of cover against AP 0 weapon when you've got 3+ save. So it means you can't have Marines that are sat in cover on a 2+ save versus lasguns. If a Marine is in cover and you shoot him with lasguns, he's on a 3+ save. But the moment that you hit that Marine with an AP -1 weapon, the moment you hit that Terminator with an AP -1 weapon, or in this case our tank with an AP -1 weapon, the benefit of cover kicks in because you're now being hit by something that has an AP value. Putting all of this together, what it means is if someone hits your Lehman Russ or your Rogel Dawn, or your Bane Blade, some high value thing that's going to be a good target for the Enginseer's 4% vulnerable save. It means someone hits you with AP 0 and you're on cover, you're on 2-up save. Someone hits you with AP -1 and you're on cover, you're on 2-up save. If someone hits you with AP -2 and you're on cover, you're on a 3-up save. And if someone hits you with AP -3 and you are in cover, you are still on a 4-up save, which is as good as you would get if you had the Enginseer. And when you take this, combine it with the fact that a lot of long-range anti-tank weapons only have AP -3. If you look at las cannons and their equivalent in other armies, they tend to be strength 12, tend to be AP -3 and D6 +1 damage, or D6 +2 damage, but it was all in that similar ballpark, right? So if someone's hitting you at range, a good long-range bit of AT, the Enginseer isn't helping you against that, because you're already going to be in cover and you're going to have that 4-up armor save. Even if you're out and exposed, even if you're driving down a light terrain board, if someone shoots you, you can pop smoke. Nearly every single guard vehicle has smoke launchers. That not only gives you massive on tip, but it also gives you the benefit of cover. So you're pretty much always going to be in cover. But I know what you're thinking. Mordian Glory, there are loads of weapons out there which have got better AP than 3. You've got loads of melter guns and multi-melters and all sorts of things which have got AP -4. Surely having an Enginseer is worthwhile against those units. It is for the niche ones, but I tend to find, and please let me know if you disagree with this, because this could very much be a local meta issue with me, all right? I tend to find that for a lot of factions, the weapons that have got the high AP at AP -4 tend to be much closer range. For example, you've got your melter guns and your melter equivalent. Now, we're not just talking about the basic melter gun here. We're talking about, there's all sorts of different melter varieties, like multi-melters, melter cannons, and the things that aren't even got melter in the name, but basically do the same thing, right? They've all got AP -4, but what they often share, but not always, often share is that they're short-ranged. They have the better AP, and they have good damage, but the trade-off is sometimes they've got much lower strength, so they're only strength 9, so they're wounding you a lot less reliably, but also they don't have the range, and you can easily stop those units from even getting to shoot at you by effective and proper screening. If you're a veteran of the Mordianglory channel and you heard me mention the word screening, first fill out your bingo card and then roll your eyes into the back of your head as you collectively sigh as I go on about screening again. I mentioned it in a lot of videos, I mentioned it in every single live stream, and often when someone sends me a list in to review, I'll say, you haven't got enough screening. Screening is the art of pushing your enemy back and not letting them be able to just pounce on your tanks, be it in close combat or with close range weapons. A good example of screening is you have a Leman Russ which is more towards the back of the board, more behind the lines, and it's shooting down a firing lane and it's doing damage, but in front of the Leman Russ is a whole bunch of infantry or Bulgrins or Sentinels, cheaper units that can be used with reinforcements so they can come back, and so your opponent has to spend loads of time like chewing through your screening units, chewing through your speed bumps, that they don't actually ever really get the things that are hurting them, which are the big tanks. Effective screening not only pushes things like combat units back, it not only movement blocks people, it not only stops people from deep striking when they want to deep strike, but it stops a lot of these potent short range weapons. When I say short range, I am including close combat weapons that often can have some good AP values and good damage in there as well. It pushes all of that back. So if your armor save in cover naturally can protect you against these long-range anti-tank, and your screening, which is something you should be doing, it isn't like, oh, but you're spending points on screening, so you're not, that's why you don't need the Enginseer. No, you should be screening every game. If the screening is protecting you from the close-range things, the Enginseer is only filling in one niche scenario now. And that is when you come across someone who has weapons that are both long-ranged and have high AP. There are some armies that can do this. You've got Tau with rail cannons. Although you don't see a lot of hammerheads these days, people do tend to prefer going for crisis suits and also riptides. Now they've had a bit of a points decrease. And you also have some Necrons which can do it. Now Necrons, right now at the time of recording this video, are very much in the ascendancy, and they very much may become quite a dominating factor, and so Enginseers may start becoming more relevant again if Necrons start dominating the meta. But outside of these niche scenarios, your Enginseer may not be adding a huge amount of value. And even if the 4-up invulnerable save is useful, there are other factors that might, again, make him redundant. A good example of this is Rogal Dawn and its inbuilt ability, Ablative Plating. This ability allows you to turn one of your opponent's attacks damage 0. So they roll to hit, they roll to wound, and then before you roll the armor save, you can go, you know what, I'm going to blank one of those. I'm going to use my Ablative Plating. It's only once per game. Use my Ablative Plating, and that is going to turn that to damage 0. What I have found is you tend to take Enginseers when you want to protect those high value tanks like your Rogal Dawns, and at which point you find that, okay, well, I'm resistant to the range on the tanks. I've got my 4-up save either way. And then I'm screening out the enemy's close range AP -4 or better stuff. And so I get this scenario where it's like, okay, I'm getting into one game where there's like one thing that's going to be ranged and it's also going to be good AP. And it's like, okay, well, now I've got my Ablative Plating. And it's very, we're getting even more niche here. There are some of these long-ranged, high-strength, high-AP weapons which also have volume, but most of them don't. Most of them either one-shot or at best D3 shots, which would be like, or 2 shots on average, okay? So once they've hit you, once they've wounded you, normally there's only one save that needs to be made anyway. And yes, we are talking in generalizations here, but you should be thinking about your tactics and your efficiencies and list when in terms of the more common scenarios rather than the niche of the niche of the niche. And so if someone hits you with one of these shots, your Ablative Plating stops it. And then typically what they've done is they've exposed themselves, and then you can counter shoot them, counter attack them, and you can destroy that enemy unit. And then you don't need the Enginseer again because you've destroyed the threat. And so taking all of this into account, what the Enginseer realistically protects you against are weapons that are very long range, that are very high strength, very high volume of fire, and very good AP, and are being fielded multiple times across the opponent's army. That's what he's protecting you against. Now, there are armies out there which do field those weapons, but it's like 1 or 2 factions. It's not the majority of the factions. So what you have to ask yourself is, when you're putting the Enginseer into your list, am I going to encounter that scenario? And if you are, then you should put them in your list. You will be able to answer that question because you will know your local meta. You will know the kind of armies you play against regularly down the game club. You will know when you go to your local RTT, your one-day event, your local GT, you'll know the majority of the players are going to be there because they're going to be local meta, local attendees, right? And if you know that every other game is going to be against Tau or Necrons or someone else who can do those multiple long-range, greater than AP 3 shots, then yes, the Enginseer should be in your list. But if you take a step back and go, well, actually, hang on a second. How many times this is what did it for me, right? I was going into game after game and I was working it out. I was going, okay, so it's AP this, cover this. Okay, so it's a 4-up. Oh, it's a 4-up either way. And if you've been going to a lot of your games and you've been saying to yourself, oh, it's a 4-up either way, as in it's a 4-up armor save or 4-up invulnerable save, then that is when you need to start thinking about and reconsidering how much value are you getting out of this Enginseer. If you're taking an Enginseer in your list, it's 45 points. It's not super expensive, but it's not cheap. It's the better part of an extra Cash-Chan unit. It's the better part of 2 Cyclops demolition vehicles, which are going to score you lots of secondary points. An extra Caning Extender, which is an extra order. If you're taking 2 Enginseers because you've got like double Dawn, then that's almost 100 points. That's the better part of a Kazakin unit, and they are very, very hot right now. Overall, I think Enginseers look amazing on paper, but in reality, they only cover quite a niche scenario. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you always take your Enginseer? If so, do you find him invaluable and his 4+ invulnerable save ability comes up every single time? Or do you find that it's not been doing as much work as you first thought? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian Glory Hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing, truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members, so thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier patrons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.